Enrolling our daughter in Elmwood's preschool program was probably the best thing that we could have done for her development and education.
Why do inclusive preschool special education programs work? Why do they produce results? In part, it's because we have a well-trained staff who are working with that child. They also have the benefit of having strong, typical peer models. So if you have a delay in communication, you have other children in that setting who are not delayed in communication. So you can hear good language models. You can see good models for social behaviors. And that's the benefit of an inclusive preschool special education program for children who have been identified with developmental disabilities or delays.
The opportunities that our teachers create are amazing. We work really hard to work on our themes. We coordinate a lot of things together. We have math tables. We try and incorporate sensory and fine motor within the classroom setting as much as we can because, you might not qualify for services, but you might still have a deficit in that area. So we try and support that as much as we can as well. Not very many places offer that, where typical peers are learning right along with non-typical peers all the time. And all the service providers in our program go into the classroom to support them as much as we can as well.
When we found out that our daughter was going to need an IEP, we knew that if she needed help, that's the best way to go about doing it. But I think what really did it was being in the school setting with a bunch of peers and having a lot of services provided to her.
I think peer models make our inclusion setting. Without peer models, we just have a special ed classroom, which has its pros and cons, but in our program, we want inclusion and we want those peer models to build up and support all students.
I've seen nothing but positive things in my child. She is happy to come to school. She has made several friends this year, both typical and special needs. I like having the inclusive classroom because not everybody learns the same, and typically developing children can be good peer models for those students.
The best thing about the peer models is that it's natural for the students. They work really hard together, it's flawless, and it's just play. But a student with an IEP is learning how to communicate. Without those peer models, they're just learning how to communicate to adults, which is not who you communicate with on a daily basis when you're 3 to 5 years old. You're communicating and playing with your peers.
Our daughter really thrived from being with kids. That was what we think was half of the problem, was that being at home, even though I took her places, she needed to be with peers constantly, and it really helped her speech. She is almost a completely different kid. She talks in sentences. They're not always complete, but the speech pathologist would go in the classroom so that she could work with her peers and the speech pathologist at the same time, which is really helpful, I think. It's hard to keep her quiet sometimes now.
I think the state's making a big deal about our program because we do use that inclusion model, and then at the end of hopefully their time with us, we're seeing students exiting off of their IEPs for academics. It's not always the case for speech. Some of those errors just they just take a little bit more to continue to practice it, but hopefully you're seeing that we're closing the gap. We found that inclusion right now is working at the preschool setting to really build those exposure skills, those play skills, and then the real life communication. When they're done and going on to kindergarten, I love being able to tell parents, your child doesn't need an IEP anymore. Your child is performing like a typical peer. And right now, I'm able to do that.